Cockfighting is a blood sport that can be traced back to the time of the Spanish colonizers. But this leisure turned into a nightmare after cockfighting aficionados or sabongeros went missing. What happened to them? I am Jairo Boliedo, Rappler's crime reporter. Tune in to this episode of KRIMINAL, now a true crime podcast. Let's talk about the case of missing sabongeros. In the early days of 2022, on January 13, 6 sabongeros went missing. They left Tanay Town in Rizal at around 1 a.m. to join a 6-cock stag derby game in Manila Arena in Santa Ana, Manila. But the 6 men, identified as John Claude Inonog, James and Marlon Bacay, Rondel Cristorum, Mark Joseph Velasco, and Roel Gomez were forced to board a gray van at around 7:30 p.m. of the same day. Since then, they were never seen again. Venancio Inonog, father of John Claude, is desperate to find his son. He says his son only drove for the sabongeros and was not involved in the game.
Ulitin ko lang sa mga nakikinig. Yung anak kong nawala, activities niya lang dyan, participation niya lang dyan, tapos magpa-argila ng sasakyan doon sa mga uma-attend ng derby. Hindi po yan nagsasabong. Hindi po yan marunong magsabong. At hindi po yan nagsusukay. Trabaho lang niya, drop and pick up after event.
Venancio says he was able to speak to his son before John Claude went missing. He says his son told him that they were forced to ride the van. According to his father, John Claude positively identified at least 3 of the suspects being tagged in the case. Venancio also claims he heard, quote-unquote, a lot of screaming before his call with his son ended. After that, he repeatedly called his son's phone but it was already turned off.
Actually, maraming lead Marami kami information na kukuha hindi naman kami batas para gumalaw. Bukod sa hinahangad namin katarungan, maibalik ang mga bata, especially ang anak ko. At huwag na sanang masundan to sa ibang tao dahil napakasakit.
In December 2022, the Department of Justice said kidnapping and serious illegal detention charges will be filed against 6 individuals allegedly involved in the case. The suspects, who are all security guards, are identified as Julie Patidongan, Gleer Codilla, Mark Carlo Zabala, Virgilio Bayog, Johnry Consolacion, and Roberto Matiliano Jr. The Philippine National Police or PNP on February 17 released the photos of the 6 suspects in the Manila Arena case. Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla also announced a 6 million reward to anyone who can give information on the suspects' whereabouts. Each of the suspects now has a 1 million bounty in their heads. But the Manila Arena incident is only one of the many cases being investigated by the authorities in relation to the missing sabongeros. As of December 2022, 34 sabongeros are still missing. Among them is Ricardo John Lasco Jr., an e-sabong executive. On August 30, 2021, at least 15 armed men entered Lasco's residence at CG Brion Subdivision, Barangay San Lucas in San Pablo City, Laguna. The suspects introduced themselves as personnel of the National Bureau of Investigation and arrested Lasco for alleged large-scale estafa. It was also reported that the suspects took personal belongings of the victim and his family worth around 500,000 pesos aside from 180,000 pesos in cash. The suspects allegedly took the cash and valuables while Lasco's family were being held in the living room. Lasco has not been found since the abduction. According to the Lasco family, the suspects allegedly used a white Toyota Grandia, a gray Hyundai Starex, and a black Fortuner as getaway cars in the crime. Lasco's disappearance affected his family, especially his mother, Carmelita, whose health deteriorated since he disappeared. In December last year, the PNP said 5 policemen were involved in the case and had been dismissed from service. They were identified as Patrolman Rigel Brosas, Patrolman Roy Navarrete, Police Staff Sergeant Daryl Paghangaan, Police Master Sergeant Michael Claveria and Police Lieutenant Henry Sasaluya. Among the five, only Brosas, Navarrete, and Paghangaan were charged for the robbery and kidnapping of Lasco. The three policemen were positively identified by Lasco's relatives. Although charges have been filed against some suspects in connection with the missing sabongeros, these cases remain largely unsolved. 34 individuals had disappeared. This means 34 families are still searching for their family members. Are they still alive? Their families are still hoping against hope. If you have suggested topics for this podcast, you can message me at my Twitter account at JairoJorno or send me an email at jairo.boliedo@rappler.com. The crime scene is just the beginning. We tell you the full story here in KRIMINAL, Rappler's True Crime Podcast. Thank you for listening. See you next time.